As you decide, the race for South Carolina's 3rd Congressional District is on. It is now an open seat, so there are a lot of candidates. But this district covers a wide area and a lot of counties. It includes southern Greenville County, Oconee, Pickens, Anderson, Lawrence, Greenwood, and Abbeville, along with Newberry, Saluda, Edgefield, and McCormick. And one of those candidates running for the Republican nomination of the 3rd Congressional District is Kevin Bishop. So, Mr. Bishop, thank you so much for taking some time with us. You have spent more than 25 years working for Senator Lindsey Graham. I like to start every interview the same way. Why make the jump now from working for Senator Graham to now run for office?
Well, that's a good question. You know, I've been involved in public service for a long time. I had actually retired. I was in the process of retiring from Lindsey's office when Jeff Duncan announced he was going to stop running or no longer seek re-election. And I thought about it. My wife, I had some friends and family came to me and said, you know, you really ought to take a look at this. You've been involved in public service for a long time. You have a lot of skills. You know what we're talking about. And here I am. So I'm excited. I've had a great time going through the district, meeting people, talking to them about the issues. And I think in a weird way, my background, if you are looking for someone who can help President Trump on day one secure the border, I'm probably the person with the right skills, the background, and experience to do that. And I've been very encouraged by the reception I've received, and I'm just going to continue working hard, keeping a smile on my face, and enjoying meeting voters. So.
You said help President Trump secure the border. That's a big issue for you on your website. Yep. You are in support of building the wall, but also the former president often says he's going to have the largest mass deportation ever seen in America. Do you support mass deportation?
Absolutely, but let's go through. There's really several things. When President Trump wins, and I think he is going to win re-election on January 20th, 2025, he will be sworn into office. And immediately once he takes his second term and takes the oath of office, the clock starts ticking on him. He only has 4 years. He can't run for re-election. He'll be term limited. So he's going to need help on day one. I support President Trump. He's going to re-implement Remain in Mexico. He's going to re-implement Title 42 changes. He's going to re-implement expedited removal. And then as we move forward in getting control of the border, President Trump has said he will begin the deportation of people, absconders, of people who've overstayed and who President Biden has allowed in, frankly, through an abuse of humanitarian parole. I support everything he's going to do on the border. He has the right plan. He secured our border in his first term. He'll do it again in our second. And I am uniquely qualified, given my background and experience, to help him on day one. And I think I'm the only person in the field who can legitimately make that argument.
Another major issue that'll be up for discussion is abortion. You say on your website that you'll move from supporting role, helping pass pro-life legislation, to voting in support of pro-life legislation. The former President Donald Trump has said he believes it's an issue left up to the states, which your former boss, Lindsey Graham, has said he respectfully disagrees with the former president. Where do you stand? Should it be left up to the states?
Well, let's go through a couple of things. First, I did play a role in helping confirm 5 of the 6 Supreme Court justices who overturned Dobbs. I'm very proud of the role I played in helping confirm Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, Neil Gorsuch, John Roberts, and one more, but I was very proud of the role we played in that, and so we got the Dobbs decision overturned. Now, President Trump has made a case that he thinks it should be left up to the states. That certainly is his right. But as we know in the pro-life movement, the pro-life movement is a long-term process of moving the country in our direction. I still favor a national minimum standard on abortion. I know that's something President Trump will not support in his term. I'm okay with that. That can be his position. But the pro-life movement is usually defined over issues over 5, 7, 10 years. That's the way we work for Unborn Victims of Violence Act, partial birth abortion, and that's what I plan to do. If I'm elected to Congress, I'll continue to push the pro-life agenda. I know it won't happen under President Trump's term, but maybe the next president or the president after that, because the pro-life movement, we move in a steady way to continue pushing the issues forward, and we're going to move toward a national minimum standard. I think a lot of Americans don't know yet, but there's certain states out there that when you turn it back to the states, they can still have abortions at 28, 30, 32 weeks. My twins were born at 32 weeks, and there's states which allow abortions at 32 weeks. So I think a national minimum standard will make sense. Over time, I want to continue to see our country move in that direction, and I'll fight for that.
The national minimum standard, that 15 weeks for you?
It can be 15. If it takes 16, President Trump did look at a 16-week bill. Whatever we can get the votes for, I'm willing to begin to put that standard. You know how I know a national minimum standard makes sense? Because every time Democrats will say, no, there's no abortion going to take place at 28 weeks. Well, then why don't we put that into law? And they say, no, we don't want to do that. The national minimum standard, whether it's 15, 16, let's see what we can get the votes for, let's begin moving in that pro-life direction. I think that's where the country needs to go.
On your list of priorities, Where does it stand when it comes to fiscal responsibility and the spending now that seems to be out of control there in Washington?
I completely agree. But the first issue, I think you'll see President Trump, and let's just go by his agenda. The first issue is going to be definitely get security of our border. That is the #1 issue. The second issue, we've got to deal with inflation. That's the single biggest issue. It's hitting pocketbooks. You know, price of gas, grocery, food, they've gone up 25% since Joe Biden's been president. And then again, when you're talking about spending, no doubt, the government is too big, spends too much. We have to continue to grow the economy, take in more tax revenue, but we also have to get our nation's fiscal house in order. I will work with President Trump to do that. I want to see exactly what he proposes. I would love to begin talking about some long-term entitlement changes. Those are some issues that people have discussed. I would love to work with him on those. But the president will also have to lead because Congress can't do it over his objections. So.
There's been some effort, some discussions to oust Speaker Mike Johnson. Do you support Speaker Johnson?
I do not support ousting Speaker Johnson. I did not support ousting Speaker McCarthy. I don't think Kevin McCarthy or Speaker Johnson, I don't think they're going on Mount Rushmore anytime soon. But right now we've got a 2-seat majority, and I want to be clear. I have no intention of going to Washington. I really don't want to go to Washington if you want me to go up there and be part of a circular firing squad. That's not who I am. That's not what I believe. I know that for us to have success in implementing the conservative agenda, we need more members of Congress who believe in the conservative agenda. Holding Speaker Johnson accountable for all the failures of the Biden administration is simply not fair to him. It's not fair to the rest of the team. So I don't want to be part of any circular firing squad. My job, what I favor is growing our Republican majority, our conservative majority, and then let's move the country in a better direction.
Kevin Bishop, candidate for the 3rd Congressional District. Mr. Bishop, thank you.
Thank you, sir.